Hello, everybody. Hold on. I don't have my top hat. Better. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Of Scribes and Men. I am your host, Sam, and I have officially created in the entire world, nay, I dare say, in the entire poetry community, the most complicated sestina ever made. Period. And I would challenge everybody to try and find an existing sestina more complicated than this, but I will get into why mine is, and it's not hyperbole here. I genuinely believe that I do have the most complicated sestina. And I'll get over that, but first, let's go over what the sestina is. The sestina is one of the most complex fixed forms in Western literature. It was invented by the 12th century troubadour Arnaut Daniel, and later perfected by Dante and Petrarch. Here's how it works. 6 stanzas of 6 lines each. That's 36 lines in total, followed by a short 3-lined envoy or tornada at the end. No rhyme scheme. Instead of rhyming, the sestina uses a pattern of word repetition. 6 N-words are chosen in the first stanza, the first final word of each line. Those same 6 words are then reused at the end of lines throughout the remaining stanzas in a precise rotating order called the lexical repetition. The order of the N-words changes in every stanza following this numerical pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 6, 1, 5, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, 6, 4, 1, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3, 2, 6, 1, 4, 2, 4, 5, 1, 3, 6, 2, 2, 2, 4, 6, 5, 3, 1. That is the pattern you must follow to have a proper sestina, and it ends with an envoy, which are 3 lines. Each new stanza inverts or shuffles the sequence in a spiral known as the retrogradatio. Listen, I'm not Italian. I'm not, I get this comes from Italy, but I'm not Italian. So if I'm saying I'm going to butcher this, and I'm so sorry to all you Italians who end up watching this. I am going to butcher this horrendously. Bear with me. The retrogradatio cruciata, or the crossing backwards. The final 3-line envoy uses all 6 N-words one last time, using 2 in each line, 1 at the middle, 1 at the end. Meter, traditionally written in iambic pentameter in English, though syllabic flexibility is allowed. It doesn't have to be written in iambic pentameter in English. It can be, but doesn't have to. Here are my rules that make it far more complicated. Starting with 4 constraints as a precursor to what I call the Penta-Constraint Sestina. But we'll get to that. The 4 rules. The sestina must always rhyme. The sestina may only ever be 10 syllables. There must be an inner rhyme to the outer rhyme. Each rhyme must fall on the 5th and 10th syllable precisely as perfect rhymes. Not near rhymes, not slant rhymes, perfect rhymes. There is a 5th rule, but we're going to look at that after the haunted sestina. We'll get to that later, and why it's just you'll see. So, the haunted sestina. Here we go. I've highlighted it so that you can see where each of the rhyme schemes have fallen, if you will. To whom shall it be in the mighty sea, sailors ever free among ships of 3? For what could we see from the bourgeoisie? Will we fall by fright, blinded by the light, through an eerie sight, and testing our might? Will we stand and fight, showing all what's right? What do we delight when all goes just right, as we spill the tea, drinking on the sea, under the moonlight, with the ocean's might? Through tempest decree and the waves of three, winds of our foresight guiding us to light, yet could not foresee the dead bourgeoisie. Hollow was the tree with the bourgeoisie. Within misty night, nothing now was right. Haunting in its sight under fading light, desiring to flee, yet drowned by the sea, forever to be cursed among the three. As ghosts came to bite, draining us of might, sent now into fight or flight with our might, with every decree of the bourgeoisie, for it was to be not of one but three. And what of the white as they stalk the right? From the haunting glee that arrived from sea, we face the sick blight that snuffed out the light. Seeking now through night growing sickly light, we fear shrinking tight gripping with its might, never meant to be lost beyond the sea. Wills that come for me from the bourgeoisie, and try as we might, we can't set it right. All is set to plea of the haunting three. Once had set to sea ghostly ships of three, in cold sweat and fright drawing of the light, as they would invite, wanting to set right, upon the midnight to try with their might. Yet it came to be the dead bourgeoisie, who once sought to flee right across the sea. So now on the sea the curses of three, left the bourgeoisie hidden from the light, escaped by our might, we were never right. A bit of a haunting sailor story for you, ghostly sailor story or ghostly sea story going on for you in this trial for constraint sestina, which is already difficult in and of itself to make sure that it goes. But the fifth and final extreme rule that must be followed, and the reason why I put this rule in, okay, so a few things. Go watch my video on the Klon to understand why I decided to try this with the sestina. Let's see where my mind was going. The Klon will explain quite a lot as to how I got to this point. The second thing is, if you look at my poetic form, the Ascendra, it has a certain rule that says that the end words of each line that goes down the poem as it grows and grows and grows and grows may never be used again as an end line. Now, I just did that for the inner rhyme, but you're going to have to look at the Ascendra to kind of fully get the context of how this works. Although I feel like it is already self-explanatory. But the fifth and final extreme rule: no inner rhymed words across the entire sestina may ever repeat as the inner rhyme on the fifth syllable of the sestina. Now, obviously, I couldn't do the Ascendra rule that I do for the end words, because the end words always have to be the six in a sestina, but I can do them for the inner rhymes. I can do them for the inner rhymes. And this now leads us to the most complicated sestina in existence, that is called, or I'm calling, the Penta-Constraint Sestina. It will have another title that will match the poem, but for right now, for the purposes of me showing the most complicated sestina in existence, and perhaps one of the most complicated poetic things ever in existence, ever, let's get into the Penta-Constraint Sestina. Would you see an eye looking from the sky? Others would then try to then go and lie, while we would all sigh, watching as they die, and within their pride all would go all would then go hide, as others who tried learned how horsemen ride, away from who lied and into their guide. Lessons to abide, learning from their guide, under the birds flying across the sky. Whispers to confide with those whom they ride, of widows who cry where the dead do lie. Answers that denied where those secrets hide. Never knowing why men at peace will die. Taught to then apply minds of those who die, to not pick a side from those who would guide. Of answers implied from questions they hide, with an ally under the deep blue sky. They would clarify where the answers lie in order to guide through the journey's ride. Down the canyon side, carefully as they ride, by the cliffs nearby, so as not to die, before the night sky to go sleep and lie. Food they would... Oh, it should be before the night sky. Sorry, hold on, give me a sec. Before the night sky to go sleep and lie. Food they would provide as their job of guide. They would not deny while under the sky. Ghosts they had once eyed as they'd run and hide. Will we set aside ghosts that come and hide within the rock slide, attacking as we ride? They once set to die in the midnight sky. So we did reply to live and not die, to send them now tied as we would then guide, by our Adonai whom we pray and lie. So we crucify the flesh that will lie, to go pacify among those who hide. Should we go pacified? We went pacified? Okay, hold up. I'm going to fix this one because I just noticed a mistake here. Bear with me. Sometimes in the editing process, you only see it until after the fact. But don't worry, I will fix that. We then pacified among those who hide. Yes, there we go. Yeah, then pacified. There we go. All right, let's start that over. So we crucify the flesh that will lie. We then pacified among those who hide. All who come hereby we shall ever guide. Wow, okay, so this one I threw off the rhyme scheme for some weird reason. But this should show you, this is actually a great lesson, because this should show you why this is so complicated. Because even I, who created this, am noticing these mistakes, which honestly, I should have noticed sooner. That is on me. But you get to see me fix them in real time to make it the Penta-Constraint Sestina to flow properly among the entire form. Okay, so do we have I gotta check to make sure. I haven't, that's abide. There's abide, but there isn't bide. Okay. Yeah, so these are the types of things that one has to, like, go over. All who come to bide, we shall ever guide. There we go. So, two errors fixed in one of the stanzas. I was doing well. I didn't realize I had two errors. I feel like this goes even smoother now, so we will go over this specific stanza again, just to see if we got any other mistakes. So we crucify the flesh that will lie. We then pacified, the first one that was fixed, among those who hide. All who come to bide, we shall ever guide. You may have once died among those who ride, which we would defy to never let die. Your end is not nigh under our bright sky. So it was the last one where it altered a little bit, but I fixed it. And then we have the envoy. Our promises lie among those who ride, past those who would hide and try not to die. We shall humbly guide until the twilight sky. That, my friends, which includes you witnessing me fixing the penta-constraint in real time to match my rule. It is there. It is there. And that is the most complicated sestina. And why did I create it? Because spite. The sestina is my least favorite form, or was my least favorite form, and now, out of spite, I am setting out to break it, and mold it, and conquer it, and bend it to my will. Because hate is just another side of passion. It's a type of passion. And maybe hate's a strong word, as some would say, but still, a type of passion. So, there you have it. If you noticed any other mistakes that I might have done, let me know. But yeah, that is the most complicated sestina. And yeah, until next time,